that this is for, or what's the objective?
Yeah. So, oh, yeah. How do I put it?
Hey, Ed.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Ed.
Wow, that was weird.
I was interesting story, Dan. I was telling everyone at Block Spaces here in Tampa about your ballot or vote.ro file you were working on, and explaining it with the pair keys and the voting, and explaining this to Chris Williams. Do you know Chris Williams, the creator of the coin faucet, by chance?
Yeah.
And he made a comment of your skills, your programming skills, how advanced they are, and he said they're Martian-like. They're so advanced. So there's someone out there who thinks perhaps that you may not be of Earth, that you could be in fact from another world. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so the motivation for this idea. All right, so we did this stuff last Saturday, and then I talked with Greg about it, and he said, "Ooh, we should demo that on Wednesday." And then I said, "Well, I won't be there on Wednesday." And he said, "Oh, just show me how to do it, and I'll do it." Anyway, we didn't connect. And then Caveman tried to do it and had a bunch of trouble, right?
Yeah.
And so what I realized is that I should do screencasts. And so I learned how to use this tool, and it takes kind of a long. Okay, so start up a fresh node. I'm going to skip forward a little bit to where I actually, okay, then I do a little explaining. Okay, and then I start it up. And it spends a bunch of time basically deploying these contracts.
Okay.
Every time I run this test, it redeploys the contracts, whether they've changed or not, which is boring, okay?
Okay.
So let's not do that. All right, so I had a rholang command line tool that I started a while ago. So I'm going to merge that into this branch that I'm working on. And I got a conflict here. So I'm going to add this functionality to my command line tool. So I want to keep that one and not this one. I want to keep that. And then was there another conflict? Or was that it? Right. Okay. All right, then. Where'd it go? Okay. All right, so this thing, DocOpt is a wonderful thing if you haven't seen that. DocOpt, you write you write the help text and it writes an implementation of the argument parser. So it's really nice.
Okay.
So let's see if this thing still works. If I then nope. That was interesting. Can't find module DocOpt. Oh. All right, now it doesn't know how to import stuff. I wonder if I should move this to Deploy data structure requires flow limit be specified.
That was Kayvon's issue during the demonstration. His flow limit was too low. He had it set to 1,000, and someone suggested he bump it up to 1,000,000, and then he was able to get it to work.
Right. Well, there's also this business where it used to be flow limit value 1,000. Now I think it's just flow limit 1,000.
Oh, okay.
And then the other thing is you probably ought to be able to set those.
Jim, you recording by chance?
There's drawer. That's what flow price. And we'll put this down. Here we go. Oh. What do you mean? PHLO limit. PHLO limit.
If the default is 1,000, and does it need to be more than 1,000? Or 10?
I'm saying it's not there at all.
Oh, okay. Oh, there's no dash there.
I think this is in a job. I think this is being stopped by JavaScript stuff. Let's see.
In the command line, you have flow dash limit? Or
Yeah, but we're hitting this thing. This is a JavaScript thing. Yeah, flow limit here. Whoa.
Oh, there you go. Nope. Or
Oh, wild. I'm confused. So this is supposed to print out the command line. Oh.
what'd you find?
It's a doc opt thing. You have to tell it that there's a value.
Oh, okay.
It was just setting those as flags as true or false.
Okay.
Okay. So now it's just complaining that I don't have a node running, which is true. So let's fix that. Do I have that thing? Yes, I do. Fresher is a tool that Joshi wrote that starts a fresh node.
Oh.
Sort of doing the right thing.
Okay.
There. What channel are we using here? General or something? rholang JS is good enough. Okay, so now we have a node running. Now if I try to do this again, success. Okay, so it deployed it, but it did not propose. I'm going to go around just for a second. So I was going to do some live coding here, and that was cool with Jim and Steve, but then more people have showed up. Dror, is there anything you want to talk about today?
Not really.
Okay. Okay, Ed?
Yeah, my only question is if anyone happens to know any progress on command line wallet or wallet contract related stuff.
Oh, I did want to mention something about the wallet. I saw the link you popped up. I think the use case you guys put some use cases in GitHub for what Mercury should have with the wallet.
Yeah, at least a Google Doc, and then they went into some of the feature markdown document.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's related here or not, but just remind me if I forget. I'm not sure. A lot of the use cases keep saying the co-op wallet, and I think that the protocol should kind of minimize the co-op involvement.
Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt you. My opinion is that, as part of the platform, at the same time as Mercury release, there needs to be some sanctioned wallet that says we've tested this and it works. So yeah, that wouldn't have to be the co-op, but there's got to be a commitment around that to make it happen.
Yeah, it's just using the co-op as saying whoever delivers the software is going to deliver this.
Yes. Is that
okay?
You understand, Jordan? There.
I need to go and go through it again, I guess. I think some cases it made sense, but some cases it was just.
Yeah, the wording is inconsistent. It uses a couple of different phrases there.
So when you say that co-op supplied wallet, I mean, shouldn't be any difference between a regular wallet and a co-op supplied one.
Right, so but the co-op is supplying all the software. But it's basically saying we're not going to just leave it up to the users to make their own wallet.
Why?
Right. Well, there will be many wallets over time, but there's a commitment from the co-op to make sure the rev issuance, happens. And the only way that people can verify that is with some software that hopefully they provide as well.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, okay. I think I misunderstood with the wallet. So the wallet here is just the software.
Right.
Okay. Sorry. My mistake.
Yeah. So what I wrote up here, it's in front here, is most of this I wrote, or it got evolved a little bit, but it's just, what is the simplest wallet the co-op can produce and have those, basic needs met? That was the intent, and that's why I called it a command line wallet, just because I thought that was the easiest one to produce.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
So that brings up the issue of confusion around the word wallet, which, so to me, I consider it asked and answered, but then people don't seem to use the issues list the way I'm used to using issues list, which is once the question's been, asked, once the issue's closed, then unless somebody's got new information, then it's closed and we don't keep asking the question again. But the rest of the core team doesn't seem to use the, they keep asking this question. I'm like, well, do you guys not look at your own issues list, or I don't get it. So, Greg said we could just use the term wallet and then qualify it as, on-chain wallet or client wallet and stuff.
Wallet app, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we can call the wallet an account, but then people will confuse it with Ethereum account. But then we can say RChain accounts work differently.
Exactly. We had this whole conversation. Recorded at length.
Okay.
So.
Anyway, thanks. I'm gonna connect up with the Vidu as well, because he probably has a more updated status. I think he's working toward an account contract. Last I talked to him, which was a week ago, and so we'll see. I'll get an update from him offline.
So, was there a decision if we're going to have the whole purses and wallet / account, or?
There's a decision that we're going to have wallets and purses and nothing else, and unless somebody reopens that issue. But maybe they don't. Again, I don't know how they use the issues list.
Okay, yeah. Just wanted to make sure. So is Ovidio just trying to make an alternative using accounts, or I didn't understand what.
Yeah, he was thinking that way a week ago, and I haven't synced up with him to know what he's currently thinking.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I haven't seen any check-ins from him related to this in the last week.
The problem you guys mentioned is that like block explorers will not be able to extract the data. Is that the problem?
Yeah, the extracting history is difficult without some additional concepts.
Tracing.
or either it would take a while to run, or it needs an offline indexing service. Something.
None of that's been measured.
Yeah, that's correct. These are just statements I'm making that I speculate.
So in a way, actually, I believe that when Ethereum decided to go with accounts instead of the UTXO, one of the negatives is that it's easy to track and it's less anonymous.
Right.
So this is actually can play to our benefit, but another thing is that Etherscan have their own special Ethereum node. It's not easy to create a block explorer in Ethereum. That's kind of like a lot of effort that Etherscan, which is quite centralized. It's one of the problems Ethereum has, that and there's few open source block explorers that they're trying to kind of have alternatives to decentralized Etherscan. So if we can do it with purses, but it requires like special node to kind of track some special things, that might be okay as well. And like if RChain becomes the thing and anyone wants to put an effort and do it, then they could probably like spend and do like some time or money and do it. That's how I see it. If the purses model actually has like a lot of advantages, we shouldn't disqualify it just because it's harder to track.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. There's a requirement that wasn't on the list I thought about, which was, Alice pays Bob, 10 rev, and someone, either Alice or Bob, can independently confirm that happened. If Bob claims that, hey, I never received the 10 rev, well, Alice needs to be able to prove that, yes, you did, or Bob needs to be able to prove, no, I didn't. And so that's where kind of block explorers fit, or in the account model fit Ethereum. So I'm not sure how that would be done in with just wallets and basic wallet contract and purses. So anyway, I think there's a lot more conversations ahead on this topic. I just wanted to get a brief update.
Another thing, and again, I might be like, it's not a good idea. Maybe we could have a function that says like wallet to wallet instead of like having a forwarder, and then you can kind of have a proof that you sent to a specific address. But yeah, I guess this Dan's hours are not about this. So.
Oh yeah, but Dror, if you wanna make some of these comments in the wallet channel, that would be great. I'd like elaborating on what you mean by wallet to wallet.
Yeah, I just feel like I need to kind of research through all the possibilities before I kind of make these comments. That's why I didn't, just like some ideas I've been thinking on this week. But yeah, definitely gonna put some more time into it and then come up with these ideas in the
it's not easy to think through and to conclude on the right design here, because there's a lot of design considerations, and they result in some of these different features. Some are more obscure than others, and that's both a feature and a challenge at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Thanks, George.
No worries. Thanks. Hi, Joshi.
Hello, good morning.
Hey, Josh.
Good morning.
What's on your mind these days, Joshi?
That's a good question. I mean, I didn't have anything in mind specifically for this morning. I'm glad to see there's a lot of people, and it looks like you're working on something cool. I mean, I've been thinking about rholang more big picture recently.
Do tell.
Working on right now.
Right now I'm kind of working on my version of RChain.
Oh, cool. How's it work?
It doesn't yet. So all I've done is explain why it's boring to load modules over and over, and then I'm, writing a bunch of, doing sort of live coding.
Yeah, cool. I saw you posted something from ASCII Nemo recently.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I installed it already.
Yeah, that is cool.
Dan, Joshi, and like others, do you guys think that rholang needs more synthetic sugar to more like the new devs or not?
I mean, these are case-by-case things. I know it's a royal pain in the ass to write, and I also know that's sort of, I don't know if it's not necessarily by design that it's a pain in the ass, but it's by design that people learn the actual small tinker toys before we give them larger tools. I don't know if I like that strategy, but I know that that's a conscious decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely feel like you learn actually how stuff works this way, but then again, it's not as readable as other languages, and kind of scares people away.
No, and yeah, when people have asked me, isn't rholang a barrier to adoption? I said, yes, it is, but it's also, the reason why it'll be more of a correct and trustworthy blockchain at the end. So we shouldn't sugarcoat its challenge, the challenge it presents to adoption.
Although, yeah, I was kind of down on that, and then I went and looked at
They're using OCaml, right?
No, they're using this assembly language. This is what you have to write. OCaml is for like if you want to change the chain, how it works. That's like a manual thing. But when you actually write your smart contracts, they're written in this typed assembly language. So I'm like, oh, rholang's nice compared to that. Better.
And yeah, even Bitcoin, even though it has a quote unquote simple stack language, you have to think in terms of stack, you know, and not know how to program Bitcoin.
Yeah, not supposed to be used for smart contracts, right? But I didn't know. I never heard anyone building anything on Tezos. Actually,
what's not supposed to be used for smart contracts?
But it's supposed to be used for smart contracts. So I really thought they were using OCaml for the smart contracts.
No, not for the smart contracts. Just for the every year there's like an election for how to change the channel, how to change they have this governance mechanism, right?
Yeah.
And the election is between things that are written in OCaml.
So Dfinity are doing this actor script. Have you heard about that?
I have not. Let's look that one up real quick. That sounds interesting.
So I don't know if anyone built it before, but it's something kind of
you don't advertise it very well.
Yeah. So ActiveScript, there's some some website from the 90s or something that talks about it. And they were supposed to launch now without it because they're building on a WebAssembly, so they didn't really need it. But now, because they delayed the launch, they're trying to finish this language.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you Google ActiveScript, you should.
I'm Googling it, right? I'm Googling Dfinity.
Not without Dfinity, just ActiveScript.
Well, that's the that's the language from Flash, wasn't it?
That was ActionScript.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So
is this Carl Hewitt's thing?
Yeah. So that's kind of I don't think anyone really made one that kind of been adopted, but it's kind of sounds like, so for PyCalculus there was the pict or something like that, right? So no one kind of used that as well, but using
what was that language on PyCalculus?
Pict.
What was that called? How do you spell it?
Yeah, that one's worth looking at too. There's actually an OCAP version of Pict. It's got a Wikipedia page. Here, I think I got it to run one day, a long time ago. Yeah, they wrote an operating system in it and everything. It's pretty cool. They got a Pict to C compiler.
So why it never got kind of used besides of research? Do you know?
Well, I mean, there's a million zillion programming languages in this same category, right? It takes a ton of work, effort to get a programming language widely deployed.
Yeah, but you think about it, right? So you have Haskell and a few others to kind of, not few, 1, 2, 3 or something that like Lambda calculus that became really famous. But no one kind of made a language that's been used for PyCalculus.
I guess the biggest deployment is in the BizTalk or whatever.
Right.
I want to see, we were talking about syntax. I wonder if the picked syntax has anything to offer here.
Yeah, I looked at it the other day.
I don't remember it being horrible.
It definitely looks better, easier to read than rholang. I think largely because of synthetic sugar. Or maybe it was also updated like in the few.
Okay, no hello world there.
So I read it from
That's
like
why it's
some.
not widely deployed, because there's no hello world in the.
Yeah.
One of the reasons, seriously. Tutorial. Okay, let's try that. Consumer safety warning.
Wow.
So yeah, we're touching on a number of things that Josh's question kind of raised in my mind. Is like what does it take to make rholang successful? And it's these kinds of things we're touching on: is discoverability, examples, adoption, education, all these kinds of things Josh and others have been working towards. But yeah, it still needs a shot in the arm for adoption.
So from what I heard, I don't know how true and how much argument, like Greg tried to stop Kyle, but Kyle kind of tried to make it more easier for developers, but Greg didn't want. Again, I don't know because I wasn't in those meetings.
Well, I can understand the desire to not add syntactic sugar until it's working well in the basic way. There's issues down in rho-VM with memory consumption and threading and some other things, I believe. And so to get the core team off of working, getting all the basics working might be distracting, right?
I don't know if this gonna. I mean, so Kyle kind of built most of the rholang stack, right? So I kind of assume it was more kind of in like principle. Maybe Greg just has his own vision, and he wants it to look like the way he envisioned it. Again, I don't know, but for instance, when I see the contracts that Casper is using, sometimes you see that they use kind of a matcher for naming a function, right? So the first argument, the first parameter is the name of the function.
Mm-hmm.
So you could easily change it to have like some kind of a syntax of like def function name, right? Inside like some contract, and that will be the function call, and it just makes it much easier to read when you look at the code.
I'm just looking at depict hello world. Well, this is
Right.
the hello world. This is the second one. And then if I were going to do that in rholang, it's for x from... No.
4 underscore from x.
Yeah. And then, I mean, if you sort of leave out the fact that they make print, okay, so that's not very different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does look a lot like the PyCalculus papers. Rholang looks more like, did it crash again? It did. Rholang looks more like Scala as far as the lexical syntax. Let's see where they've got actual function definitions or something. Subtyping. Well, they've definitely got def. It would be interesting to look at some. Yeah, see, this looks like rholang.
Yeah.
All those close braces stacking up at the end, that's familiar.
That's like my biggest problem when I see always the braces in the end. It's kind of annoying, but I think Joshi mentioned, oh, maybe having a kind of a weight, like kind of a weight. Was that you, Joshi?
What? Maybe I didn't quite get what you were saying though.
Did you propose having synthetic sugar that looks more like the JavaScript stuff?
Oh no, I didn't.
No, okay.
I'm not opposed to seeing it or thinking about it, but
Right.
it was not my idea. Dan, where were you looking over those picked docs? I'm curious and browsing those more. Thanks.
Yeah, where is the? This one's even more obscure. Tamed picked. This is the OCAP version of it.
Picked went too mainstream for you?
But somewhere there's actually an operating system written in picked that you can boot. It's pretty wild. This is the same tutorial. I don't know where because they've got print as a top level thing, which is you wouldn't have in the capabilities language. Anyway.
Yeah, I have to say I do like rholang making you like pull that in from a system power box that may or may not be there depending where you're running.
Although it's weird, if it were a power box, you would send messages to it and it would give you things back in return. So ours is not really. It's kind of weird when you to think of it. Power boxes get to make decisions based on the information you send them, for example.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that was a term beyond RChain.
Oh yeah, it's from the capabilities lore.
Oh.
Whoa, I wonder what that is. Yeah, that's something different. Yeah. So at least as old as 2010.
Yeah, okay. So that first little bit I read at the top sounds like you get to, with a power box, you get to make queries and you're either approved or denied.
Right.
You know it. Whereas in rholang, you ask and you don't even know whether you got the capability you asked for, but then your code goes ahead and runs anyway.
Well, you could test whether it stood out as nil.
Well, but if I try to do like, new some whatever thing, and then I try to import it from like, row IO, printer or whatever doesn't exist yet, isn't it just going to be a normal channel that I can still use, but it doesn't go to my printer?
Oh, possibly. Yeah, I thought maybe it would be nil, but you might be right. Oh, this is good. I wonder if, I guess you already did this.
Oh, I'd be happy to talk design about this thing. I haven't seen your code enough to feel like I fully get it or anything, but are you designing something that lives outside of our node and calculates dependencies and?
I'm less interested in dependencies so far, and just interested in if this was already loaded again, don't load it. If this was already loaded, don't load it again, please.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
I may get to dependencies eventually. I do have the this. I'm somewhat happy with. It does multiple modules concurrently. That was the
cool
latest change. So it runs all the deploys, and then it runs one propose and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, nice.
So async functions are yummy.
Yeah, totally.
So all I wanted to do was store the checksums of the source code, in a JSON file, and along with their registered URIs and stuff. Is that what? I guess you already did that with rhopm, right?
Yeah, that's in there. I think the last time I tried to use it, it didn't quite work, and I didn't try for even 1 second to debug it, but it has worked at some point.
Yeah. Well, I guess it would be interesting to look at sort of the state of the art in the locker and stuff.
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to see the locker. I know we didn't get together the other night.
Okay, so for one thing, the locker that's in the RChain repository. I don't know if there's anybody who's seen this, but this was what was demoed last Wednesday.
Oh, you did end up demoing it?
I didn't. Kvan did.
Oh.
At the very end of the call, he actually got it working. But there used to be a locker.row there. Anyway, it has a bunch of stuff all glommed together in one rholang file, and it's designed to some of it run off from off-chain. So I have since moved the parts that are designed to move off-chain. So this is the state of the art now. So here's our scenario. There's going to be an election between Lincoln and Douglas, and there's an issue in that the voting contract actually uses a set, but there's no sets in JSON. And so the guy who facilitates the election is Chip the chair, and there's his key pair. And then Vic the voter is the voter, and there's his key pair.
So that's his. When you say key pair, that's his like private key with the public key encoded in it, or that's just his public key, or?
This is just the seed for the private key, and then the public key gets computed.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Oh, and before I dig into this, I will swap in one other piece of context. Where did I put it? Oh, did I lose it? No, here. No. All right. I will not swap that in just now. Anyway, the RChain Springboard, you might remember that we can connect people's Discord identities to public keys. Anyway.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that's something I want to connect to this stuff, but I haven't done that yet. Anyway, so there's our scenario. Chip is going to run an election between Lincoln and Douglas, and Vic is going to vote for Lincoln. All right. And the way it works is we load all four of these contracts, and then we make a proxy for the chair, for the chair role. And so this is the one where you sign your method calls, and and so it proxies the give right to vote and get winner thing. So this object here can do that stuff, and then the voter role does some inbox stuff, and it can exercise its vote.
So that what you showed us there was the chair. This is the person like organizing the election. Okay. Give right to vote. So Chip will call this like give right to vote along with something that Vic has already given to Chip off chain or something, like with a URI, I guess. Yeah. Okay. And then reject is just like if something bad happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. What's INL channel? Right inside to give right to vote.
Maybe that's like
Look up.
Inbox lookup channel.
Okay. Oh, this is where something's going to be sent in the end, right? That's the punchline, or oh yeah, for inbox from inbox lookup channel, right from CH. Huh. Oh, okay. Can you? I don't know how fast you want to go here, but I wouldn't mind you helping me parse that if you want to dig in.
That's fine. So the give right to vote is going to yield a right to vote, right? So this is what it yields, right? That's the.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to send that right to vote to the voter. We can look at the voting. The problem with the is it's got this solidity code interspersed in a not maximally useful way, but yeah, we probably should. This is maybe the ground to start from.
Okay.
So that's using the module loading idiom for export.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's great. I like that syntax way better than what I did. I also liked your idea of like row PM export or whatever, but in any case, this is great.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, right. So it says C loadering. So what that's all about. Okay. So when you make a ballot, when you make an election, you give it a non-empty set of proposal names. I thought that was kind of cute that you can say non-empty set.
Oh yeah.
It at least has a head.
Right. So that's Lincoln and Douglas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Okay. And it's going to give you back some stuff. All right. And we're going to make up this chairperson. Yeah. So in the Solidity code, chairperson would be like a address. And it's a little bit of a misnomer. Voter, it's not really a voter, it's a voting right. But I use the Solidity names. So that's called chairperson.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so in Solidity, it is more of a voter because such a thing represents like an address that a real person is in control of, right?
Something like that. Yeah, it's maybe chairperson address or something. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
All right.
Oh, cool. Voters with weights. I didn't know that was in there.
Yeah, because you can do delegation. Now, turns out that all the delegation stuff I could just delete because you can always delegate capabilities. But
that's right. Yeah, it doesn't have to be baked in. That's
right. All rights in rholang are delegatable.
That would be like a revocable forwarder, right?
Yeah, I could just have revocable forwarders as a separate contract, and you can compose them. Yeah. Okay. So they have this structure of voters, which is weight, voted, delegate, and vote, and I used separate maps for each of those. Voter weight, voter channel, So I empty out those maps, or I start with empty maps. And this is the map of proposals to vote/wait. And here's the give right to vote. So they have this check that only the chairperson give the right to vote. So this is like their access control thing.
Yeah.
And capabilities, you don't have to do that, because if you have access to the chairperson capability, then you are capable.
Mm-hmm.
So you just don't have anything that corresponds to that. So when you give right to vote, you allocate a new voter, and what you get back is a bundle plus of the voter. And I'm going to give him wait 1, and I'm going to give him this vote method that does the right thing as far as delegation, which is overly complicated. And then they can delegate, which again, we can just delete all this if we were smart. And then the winning proposal name basically just count. This is just a loop to calculate the max of the, it's got a map of proposals to counts.
Yeah, so it iterates, I guess probably recurses through that map, and then finds the maximum, which is the maximum weight, which corresponds to the winning candidate.
Right.
Okay.
And it actually sends out it returns the winner and the tally. I thought the tally was kind of handy to have.
Yeah, okay.
And then this is a little demo down here. We're gonna call the ballot contract. We're gonna get our chairperson and the ability to determine the winning proposal name.
Oh, this is cool. Okay, so ballot is like the big factory. You call ballot when you're like, yo, I want to run an election.
Correct.
And it gives you back, as the person who made the call and set it up, gives you back the chairperson capability. And then what's that second thing? Winning proposal name?
It's the ability to say who's winning. You can hand out to anybody. It's not a very, you don't need to hold that closely. So I separated them.
Understood. That's a convenience thing, because that data is visible and clear on the chain if you're willing to work for it anyway, right?
Right.
Okay.
So we hand out 3 rights to vote. You go and grab them. Voter 3 delegates to voter 2. Voter 3 tries to delegate to himself, and it prints an error at that point. And then voter 1 votes for Lincoln and Douglas, and you never know which one's going to rate. Voter 1 votes for Abe Lincoln, which is not one of the choices, so it checks that error path. And voter 2, so Lincoln always gets either 2 or 3 votes, because voter 3 delegated to voter 2.
Yeah.
And Douglas gets at most 1. So true to history, Lincoln wins.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, this is cool.
All right.
So at first you were showing us different files, right? Now that we're at the bottom of this one, I feel like I've seen everything. What else was in there?
Okay. Well, there's no keys in here, right?
Oh, so we were looking at locker stuff earlier.
Right. So you can run this, and you can run your toy thing, but if you want to use it from a website or something,
understood.
Now what do I do? And you can't put chairperson in the registry, because then anybody could.
That's right. Yeah, I'm with you totally. Right. And what you're describing now is really the same problem that purses have, and instead of solving it in a one-off like voter wallet or whatever, you're generalizing to make the locker.
Right. So.
Right, and that discussion just now would be great to get on the Hangout next week if you're available.
Yeah.
That tour through this code?
No, yes, but that very last part, especially to say, why did Dan conclude that a locker is useful, right?
Yeah, totally.
Because in this voting example, which we want to have voting, on the blockchain, et cetera, then we need a way to find these capabilities.
Right. So that's what I was trying to get the Ask Enema thing to tell that story. This was my script that I was working on. I didn't get very far. Okay. So this is the chair roll doodad, and it basically given that the ballot contract was registered, you pass in the ballot URI in the locker contracting, and then it makes a locker. So the nice thing here is this just forwards methods basically. It does maybe in an over-engineered way, but the guy who designs the locker, the chair roll doesn't have to do cryptography, right?
Because he just runs this code, you're saying?
Right. Well, he writes this code. Whoever
so
designs,
he doesn't have to do crypto. He has to have a key pair that he's going to sign something and send into his locker, right?
Right. But the guy who writes this code doesn't have to write code that does cryptography. The cryptography is done once in the locker thing.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Right. So I've done this thing where I send a bunch of code instead of executing it, which might be over-engineered. Oviedo suggested simplifying it, but I have to think through whether that's going to work.
Yeah, I had posted on Discord somewhere what the advantage of because you had made that example apply contract, right?
Yeah.
And then my question was, what's the advantage of throwing something in and calling it there as opposed to just sending the entry point in?
I'm not sure there is any.
Yeah, cool. But either way, this definitely works though, at least, right?
And here we make up the difference between a list and a set, because ballots, when we do the crypto, we do it over basically JSON, and there's no sets in JSON. Mm-hmm. We could do it. rholang knows how to do crypto over sets, but our JavaScript code doesn't. So. So it has to be exactly two choices for this to work.
Yeah.
All right.
That could. I mean, I'm not saying converting is the best idea ever, but that could be generalized, I think, too, by recursing through your list and calling set.add.
Yeah, if I were willing to write 15 lines of code.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It's just boring that there isn't a one-liner to go from sets to,
Mm-hmm.
Although actually with list ops, maybe there is. Maybe it's just map.
I could put that in Libro too.
Right. Okay, so now we kind of know what our chair role is. Maybe voter role would have been a better one to look at. It proxies exactly one thing. And most of this stuff is creating the locker and then registering it. Maybe not most, but half of it.
So, okay, cool. So can we look at that a little more carefully too? So contract voter role, make locker. Oh, and you export this, right? Okay, so this is basically, so everyone who wants to vote in the election basically runs this code.
Correct.
And, okay, yeah, can you tell us a little bit about it? What is that contract voter role?
Right. It basically only has one method, so it could have been, it doesn't really have to use this method thing. But
okay. Yeah.
Right. So you give yourself a nickname, which is nice for, diagnostics. I'm not sure if I use that because identifying you by your public key is kind of boring.
Yeah.
And then I don't have an import mechanism, so so you have to pass in the locker URI thing. And it's going to.
So this person has already made a locker at some point?
No, this is the locker that URI. Is going to map to this, the thing for making a locker.
Okay, so on the bottom we're looking at locker.row. Yeah, okay. All right. Locker URI. That's what you call to make one. Yeah, I'm with you.
Right.
So we're going to look up something there. Oh, yeah, I see it already.
and then we're going to make ourselves a locker.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
And then this backward, this kind of weird stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what we actually do when we make a voter roll locker is we make up a new inbox. Where'd the inbox go? Yeah. So we make a new inbox and we register the bundle plus of the inbox. So the whole world can write to our inbox, but only we can read from the inbox.
Mm-hmm.
And then the vote for thing.
Dan, and point of clarification, the inbox is inside the locker. Is that correct?
In a sense, yeah.
In a sense, okay.
Yeah. In other words, the only way to get at it is by, sending signed messages.
The capability is there.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the scope.
The only way to check the inbox is by sending the signed message. Right? Anyone can send something to it.
Yeah. Yeah, because we've published it here.
Yeah.
But the scope of it is there, and we don't send it anywhere. So when you want to go vote, you have to go and get your right to vote out of your inbox. So if you call vote for and the chair hasn't given you a right yet, then it'll hang there.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the JavaScript code is not smart enough to handle that case. Okay, so you go and get your right to vote out of your inbox, and then you exercise it.
Where did choice come from?
Here.
Oh yeah, right. Okay.
And then in right. Okay, so maybe this stuff will make more sense now. So we got our now we're going to actually invoke. No, that's just going to be a proxy for the contract. Right. So chair role in JavaScript or voter role in JavaScript is going to act just like this thing here.
Yeah, got it.
Because we exported it, and then this proxy thing effectively imported it.
Can you give us a really, really quick rundown of the proxy? I know you wrote that in RChain API, and I looked at it a little bit at the time, but I haven't used it, and I don't remember exactly how it works.
So this is the log of the thing actually running. So this is it deploying the 4 contracts concurrently. So it does a bunch of deploys, reports success on all the deploys, then it does a create block. So then these are all the published things. So those 4 things are published. And then, so we're doing make locker chip to chair here. So that is, okay, so our chair role thing is a proxy doodad, and we call make locker on it, and we give it some arguments. This is just a string. This is going to be some bytes. That's going to be a list of choices, and then this is going to be a map from the string locker to a URI and the string ballot to a URI.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we called this proxy thing with a method and some arguments, and the proxy code turns around and takes the target, because we squirreled away the target when we created the proxy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now we have the target, which is where this thing, the target URI anyway. And so we can turn around and look that up and trace that. And then we send the methods to the target. So it's going to send make locker, chip the chair, here's the signature, there's the choices, and this is the map of giving it the 2 URIs that it needs.
Yeah, nice. Okay. So when so on your bottom on testvoting.js, on that bottom half of your editor, when you make the chair role proxy, you pass in user, and then the ... default payment means there could be like arbitrarily many additional args there.
Yeah. Oh, That's how you merge two JavaScript objects. So the default payment is where? Is that up here? Blah, 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 here.
Oh, I see. You're taking all of that stuff that we're going to use every time and dumping it in there with this is just so you didn't have to type all that stuff twice,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Okay. I'm with you there. And then what is oh, and user, that's RNode stuff. That's just for sending the deploy. That's not for your contract.
Right.
Okay, I'm with you totally.
Yeah, and user is completely arbitrary.
Yeah.
As far as I know, it's not used by the node yet, so, you know.
Do we know, is that intended to be used by the node, or will it remain arbitrary?
I can't imagine that it will be just a worthless bunch of bytes forever. There's eventually going to be some design, or it will be deleted, I guess. I don't know.
But I mean, is it's not the public address or a public key that is used to pay, right? It's independent of that.
I don't know.
Okay, thanks.
I've also never heard anyone confidently say user is for blank and will or won't be used whenever. Right.
The last data I had was about 5 months ago. Mike Stay said it was arbitrary. That's and that's fine with me. I just need to know eventually.
Okay. Yeah, and the voter roll thing is in some ways more straightforward. This is kind of nice. So in rholang, we can write return locker URI, inbox URI, and then you can destructure it over here in JavaScript language.
Oh, that's interesting. How did that work?
Well, what goes across the wire is just, well, you know, what goes across these two worlds is the RChain JSON stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
And maps are okay as far as JSON's concerned. And so what comes...
Oh, they turn into objects?
Say again?
They're just objects, right?
Yeah.
JavaScript objects? Oh, interesting. That is cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so test voting JS deploys all of the main voting contract that we looked at first, both of the roles, the voter role and the chair, or a couple different voter roles, I guess, and the chair role.
Well, only one voter role at this point. That's kind of boring, but it does.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought at some point I saw it deploying oh yeah, there's four pieces of code up there. Oh, right. The locker, the vote role, the chair role, and the actual election contract.
Right.
And then okay. So there's two pieces of code like chair role and voter role. In a future world where this is like really polished and consumer facing, there's going to be some like client side application, whether it's browser based or whatever else, that basically like constructs the perfect piece of code that looks really similar to chair role with the correct like candidates and things like that in it and deploy.
Right.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I have a sense of how this works now.
Yeah. So everybody can hopefully imagine a world where this JavaScript has got some web stuff around it, and you know, the web stuff, the guy makes up some choices and then you fill them in there.
Yeah.
So there were a couple people in the community really interested in voting in general and governance. Jake was one, and Glenn was another, and maybe some of the European cooperative folks were. Are they engaged in, are aware of this progress?
To some extent, yeah. I did eventually get an ACK from Steve.
Yeah, because those are the folks that might be motivated to write a UI on top of this.
Yeah, I suspect that they won't actually do a whole lot until I've actually built a minimally functioning UI.
Yeah.
As someone who's written a couple toy dApps, the one that has the nicest UI was written by Dan.
Well, actually, you wrote it. I just polished it.
Yeah.
But Joshi, I hate to tell you, Dan is a Martian.
Yeah.
That was a comment from earlier on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess Chris said that about me, Josh.
Yeah. Chris Williams.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
He's
funny.
pretty impressed with Dan's capabilities.
Yeah, totally, man. Who isn't?
All right.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I mean, I really dig this stuff, and then I want to hear whatever else you want to show about it. But I'm also curious about the locker in general, because Kent got a point across to me that it took my brain a really, really long time to understand, which is if we have these lockers sitting in the registry and the registry is accessible from anywhere, then there's no one enforcing that users use these things the way we want them to, which is when you contact the chain, you look up your capabilities in your locker, and then you play OCAPs from there. You could just grab something out of the locker at the moment you need it from wherever you happen to be in your code. And that makes it kind of like message.sender. I wondered what your thoughts were on that.
Say that last part one more time. You could just do what?
So like, yeah, let's see if I even have my head wrapped around this all the way. The registry is available anywhere within rholang, which means that I could be, 10 message passings, or like if you're thinking of a more traditional like stack, I could be 10 calls down the stack deep, and then I need some capability. And instead of having looked it up when I first like parred in with the chain and then passed it along as a capability, that thing that's 10 calls deep, it also has access to the registry. So it could only then finally call the registry and look up whatever capability it needed, instead of like, delegating it all the way along that call stack like we would.
Yeah, but if you put capabilities in the registry, they have to be things that you're happy for anybody in the world to use.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of lockers specifically, and I'm happy for anyone in the world to use it in the sense that no one else in the world can actually produce the correct signature.
Right.
So, yeah. So I think his point was, like, instead of actually delegating, maybe this doesn't matter that much. I think his point was, instead of delegating, like an unforgeable name, like, which is what we're hoping for, they could just pass along this, like, signed thing that at any point can be then thrown over to the registry. But now that I'm saying it out loud, maybe that's not that different. You're just treating that already signed thing as your object capability.
Yeah, sending around, sort of suspended method calls.
So like maybe a real world example is like we're participating in this election and I haven't been well informed, so I'm gonna delegate to you, Dan, but it turns out you're in the same situation, and so you're gonna delegate to Jim. Like, I think the right way to do that would be setting up forwarders and stuff like that, right? And
well, if they don't need to be revocable, you just actually hand me your capability.
Yeah, right. That's right. Either a revocable forwarder, or I give you the thing directly if I'm like permanently delegating to you. Yeah, I agree with that. So I think an alternate design pattern that could emerge is something like, I give you the signature to pull my my like send your vote here channel out of my locker whenever you're ready to do it.
Yeah. This guy that Simpson wrote this short story about that.
Really?
It's kind of like after you've drank the object capabilities Kool-Aid, you look around at what everybody else is doing and you go, why? It's like, yes, you could write VI and the Space Invaders and VI macros, but his short story is in this world where maps are these really weird contorted things, and he's got this idea of a globe, and they're like, oh, that's crazy.
So let me see if I parse that correctly. Then you're saying, like, yeah, that is a thing that could happen, but it's not a good pattern, and probably not one that people will find convenient or useful, and they'll just do it the way we expect them to do it. And if they don't, it's not really anyone's problem.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I think I buy that. I wanted to bounce this idea out there too. This is not a fully baked idea, but I thought about something where like the registry is not accessible from anywhere on demand. So the registry, like looking things up in the registry, is only possible like as you're first parring code in. So you're responsible for looking up whatever you need in the registry for your code to run. And then if anyone tries to make a registry lookup in the middle of, you know, executing code, those fail. And we could discuss what the failure mode might be, but it's just not accessible.
So what's the rationale for that intuition?
The thought is that if the registry isn't available everywhere all the time, then people can't do the thing I described earlier where like they only bother to pull a capability out of the registry the moment they need it. Like it has to be properly I don't know if delegated is always the right word, or, you know, like I have to give someone that capability in order for them to have it. They can't just grab it whenever they want to.
Okay, you couldn't attempt to crawl the registry or hack the registry, maybe, so it lowers the vectors of attack, maybe?
My thought was more that it forces us to follow more standard OCAP discipline.
I see.
Well, I got a question, which is, what is there other than when you're originally parring code in? There is no other time that rholang runs.
Yeah, so that's a good question, and that's sort of why I was saying it wasn't a fully baked idea.
Okay.
To give you a fuzzy intuition about what I'm sort of thinking is like, you know, imagine I've written some 50 lines of rholang that gets sort of nested at some points. Like maybe at some point I'm 5 or 6 fours in, and I can only call what's the registry method? Like, is it just called lookup?
Yeah.
I can only call lookup from like the top level. Like I can do new lookup from row registry lookup if it's like my first new in my file or like at that outermost scope or something. But I can't do it in a continuation of a continuation that's a couple levels deep.
Okay.
So that's just maybe think of that as just an idea to kick around if it ever crops back up into your head.
Well, yeah. Well, that's a related neuron.
Yeah. Which
is back to the idea of whether our current idiom is really a power box. The idea of a power box and capabilities is that, like, if I'm calling a contract, if I don't give you access to the clock, you don't have access to the clock.
Yeah, exactly.
The way rholang works right now, you can just say new clock and you have access to the clock. So the clock is ambient.
Yeah, bingo. And same with standard out.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, is there any reason, and not that anyone here necessarily knows, but maybe we can just think on, is there any good reason why we don't just do like look up standard out from the registry? Because then it definitely could have the option of giving back nil.
Oh, so more generalized is, why not every capability, including the power box capability, come from the registry?
Yeah, it's just an idea I was kicking around a little bit.
Or there's the concept of, implicit capabilities that are just convenient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or maybe this is a big question that I've been thinking about. What is the difference? There's like a couple different paradigms we have going. One is the row IO standard out one. One is the registry. And then yet another one is the like public name at ed25519 verify. So like what distinguishes when someone has a idea like, oh, I want to add something new to rholang, how do they decide where it goes? Whether it's so like, list ops and make mint go in the registry, the crypto stuff goes as a public name, and then the timer and the debugging and the standard out stuff goes into what we were calling the system power box.
It does feel like it'd be an advantage to unify that.
Well, if you can write it in rholang, you put it in the registry. The standard out is for system contracts. And then the ED25519 thing, I hope never happens again. I mean, that those probably would be system contracts if I had my way. I mean, it's just I think that's just momentum.
Okay. Okay, so Dan, your distinction was if you can write it in rholang, it goes in the registry. That at least is a rule that makes sense and I guess is enforceable.
But then that brings up the concept of a Genesis content of the registry, which is fine.
Yeah, we do have that. There are contract. I mean, the basic wallet and stuff like that are in the registry at Genesis.
Yeah, right.
Thanks. Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna need to bug out soon. But I was, Josh, if you had other topics that you included in the concept of rholang adoption or general rholang, or are we on that topic you were mentioning earlier?
What was that, Ed?
Oh, when you first joined the call, you were saying that you wanted to talk about some more general rholang things.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily have anything that I was like really itching to share about that today, but just to give you a sense, like my situation lately has been that I really like rholang in this RChain computational model, but as someone who doesn't speak Scala very well, and I don't feel very suited to sort of help shape it, and then also with like most of the devs having their head down to get Mercury together, I've sort of felt like rholang isn't necessarily progressing in its own right, only to serve RChain. So that's kind of, I'm trying to think about ways to sort of give rholang a life of its own, independent of just RChain.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I hope. Well, then we saw Pict, and I was like, oh, well, it looks like they've done something similar. So, but I don't know. I'm learning a lot in the process, so I'll probably keep rolling.
That's wonderful, Joshy. Does anyone know if anything became of, Greg visited some universities, I think, with the intent of helping rholang education and making it also an academic language. Did anything become of that? When he did the tour to Russia that included the visit to Lika Exchange or Lika, I thought he visited a university, for example, and then I was wondering also in your visit to Korea whether there was any university engagement that might help it as an academic language as well.
Yeah, so that's the first I'm hearing of any of Greg's adventures in that department, but that's super exciting. I'm thrilled to hear that. In Korea, after our workshop, we had a day and a half in Seoul, and we met with the vice president from Konkuk University, who sounded really interested in blockchain research. And so Isaac and I wrote up a list of about 6 ideas, and probably 4 of them were really like RChain specific, some about rholang and stuff like that. And I think Jonathan's taking the lead on, communicating back and forth with that guy. I haven't heard anything super promising since we talked to him, but he sure seemed into it when we met with him.
Which card?
Cool.
So that's my scene report.
Where'd it go? So as far as not being a Scala guy, I'm not a Scala guy, but I play one on TV.
Yeah.
So if you had ideas like, where'd it go? Oh, he doesn't spell it out here. Someplace he spelled out the expansion of let, right?
I did that in a Jira issue.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah, I think it might be 1052 or something like that.
It was 2641 at one point.
Oh, they're all renumbered now. Yeah.
But
By the way, Dan, whatever happened to this? Is this just still an open PR? I like this one. I'd like to see it in.
It is just an open PR. I haven't done tests, so it can't be.
Oh yeah,
it wouldn't be merged yet. Yeah. Then there's the sort of strategic question of whether we give people sugar when it's expensive.
Mm-hmm. Well, so here's my thought, and this is what I wrote to a video about this. The sugar that you've added, what people who are writing rholang do today is manually desugar that.
Sure.
So any performance problems that may exist, they're not going to be any worse by using the sugar than they already are. So it's the developer experience gets better and the efficiency gets no worse than it is right now. So I would say this should go in, and then if there can be optimizations made, that's great. Let's open a ticket for it.
Well, people might not know that this expands to something expensive.
Yeah, okay, that's true. But what else would they do? You redesign their program, you mean?
There certainly could be hints as in the IDEs to say, warning, could be expensive, or in the test compile, I forget what you were asking, Dan. How does one check their rholang code without going on contract? It could, anyway, either in the IDEs or in those kinds of checks, there could be warnings.
But I think that's a good idea. Yeah, go ahead.
Who argue against sugar, they do have sort of a case. I mean, I don't know if I agree with it either, but
yeah. So what's the case again? The case is like this. Yeah. What is the case? So I totally understand that what you've done for let is the equivalent of sending something on a channel and then receiving it from the channel, and that's 2 RSpace operations, right? So that's the expense we're talking about.
Yeah, there was something about how rholang is a what you see is what you get language and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Cool. All right. Well, that was my thoughts on that.
No, I've heard before from Greg and some developers that if you can keep the developer's head in, as pure, I don't know, asynchronous, monadic, I don't know what the right phrases are, then they will grok everything better at the end of the day, and therefore sugar is bad, especially early in the rollout of a language. I don't know if I agree with that, but that's what I've heard.
Right,
of something.
Right. Yeah, I've definitely been through the experience of giving people Tinker Toys that are too low level and the whole thing doesn't work. You could build blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but if it's not in the standard library on day one, then if it takes, 20 lines of code to say hello world,
Yeah.
Then it's just, you don't get the momentum. And the whole world is suffering from the fact that JavaScript's standard library is too small. Anyway, so I am on the side of syntactic sugar just for my personal self.
Right.
I write maybe more rholang than anybody else, and I experience pain all the time.
That's the thing. That's another thing that's made me not really want to even engage in those dialogues anymore. Is people talk about like what we need now and what developers are going to want, and most of those people have not written more rholang than me, and definitely not more than you. So
if you have ideas along these lines, I don't mind trying to do this. I mean, this is clearly a tractable amount of code. This, by the way, is really nasty. It's not hardly Scala at all. The data structures that you get back from our parser are Java data structures. So you have to do this. You have to write this crappy. You have to mutate these data structures.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Is there a concept of in other programming languages of the basic language and then a language extension or a sugared enhancement of the language?
Funny you should ask. Monty is the language that I've worked on. Where's the search doodad? Oh, maybe it's right at the top.
So then the purists can still be happy. And the core language can be released before the enhanced language.
Well, but you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that totally. I think, Ed, you're trying to say, like, this will keep people like Greg or whoever else wants to say, like, this language is really simple and everyone can wrap their head around it. And then the rest of us who actually want to program in it can.
Right.
Right. You know, the language purists hate JavaScript, but, you know, it's popular for various reasons I won't go into, but.
Yeah.
Actually, that they hate it less and less, I think.
JavaScript's getting really cool, but yeah, but
it's evolved with ES6 and TypeScript on top of that, right? Whatever.
So what were you going to show us here, Dan? I love these diagrams, by the way.
Oh yeah, I added that to the. Oh, so Monty is this language that looks a lot like Python. So there's.
Oh yeah, very Pythonic.
And it has a bunch of syntax. But a lot of it is syntactic sugar. And so when you give the semantics, you only have to give it for, you know, the 10 constructs or whatever. There's expressions and patterns, and there's like the expressions are if and message send and a couple other ones.
And then you're saying you give semantics for those basic couple chunks, and then everything else on that has a rewrite down to the more basic stuff.
Correct.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, I almost even wonder if there's going to be some, like, you know, rholang is the low-level language, and then something that looks like rholang but has all these niceties can compile down to it or something.
Yeah, I call it JavaScript myself.
That's the one that has all the niceties.
Well, I mean, if you write JavaScript with asynchronous functions, you can definitely see how to compile that to rholang. You know,
that's a cool idea.
Yeah, it's been on my to-do list since the very beginning. February this year.
Wait, what was that? A compiler from Monty to rholang could use the transition from the community. Oh, yeah. Oh, and you even tried it a little bit?
Yeah. So there's even a sketch of it in one of the papers.
One of what papers?
The Policies as Types paper.
Who were the authors on this?
Meredith Stay and.
Oh. I don't know that last lady.
I think she shows up in Mark Miller's stuff too. Anyway, there's they give this example. Oh, here it is. So here's some JavaScript, and they say, you know, you can see how you would compile it to
rhocal?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I haven't read this paper.
So I got one example to work.
Yeah, cool.
Oops. This is the compiler.
So that's written in JavaScript?
Yeah. Oh, and there was me trying to do Monty to rholang. Where's the example that works? Oh, this is the example that works.
Constant decker equals amount. This is Monty code in top?
No, that's JavaScript.
Oh, it's a JavaScript arrow function. I got you.
Yeah.
Balance equals. Gets compiled using fresh names taken from line and column number. Oh, that's a good idea to make your names. So you've got all this get and set stuff in the rholang. Where is it all of that in the JavaScript? Oh, it takes in an amount and then sets balance to what's nat? Natural number?
Yeah, it sort of throws if anything if you give it anything that's not a natural number.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's kind of a type declaration.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. So that top bar, when you run that 3-liner of JavaScript up top through your JS to rho.ts, it gives you that rholang on the bottom.
Yeah.
That's cool. I dig that.
So yeah, whenever I think of languages that anybody would actually want to use and compiling it to rholang, this is definitely where my brain goes.
Yeah.
That's it's a lot of what inspires the proxy stuff too, is that I'm always writing in one language actually.
In JavaScript?
I'm writing in E.
Oh. Do you actually write E? Is there like an E interpreter that runs?
There is an E interpreter, but I don't write. I mean, the E interpreter has gone fallow.
Yeah. Okay.
But I read Mark Miller's thesis, and the ideas are the same ones throughout E and Monty and rholang and everything. So
yeah.
Although there's some like real architectural differences. So Miller is real big on fail-stop determinants. So your code either does, if you run your code into twice, it either does exactly the same thing or it throws an exception. Because my computer might have more RAM than yours.
Oh yeah, right. Okay.
But rholang is not guaranteed to be. If you run it twice, there might be a race, and it might win one way, the other way.
Oh right, yeah, yeah. At first I was thinking like if you parred your code into some different environment, but it's even worse than that. Even if I take a totally isolated piece of code and run it twice on its own.
Yeah, and in some ways that's why people are not scared about having the fact that everybody has a random number too. That's a random number generator.
Yeah.
Everybody has access to the clock and a random number generator all the time. It's like, where's this going? That turns out to be the case in a lot of JavaScript environments too. It's really hard to get rid of the clock and the random number generator.
I'm curious and that's at least a pseudo random number generator, right? I don't think we should treat that as like a cryptographic source of entropy though.
Right.
Because what does it come from again? It comes from the timestamp and one of those IDs that we're not sure. Maybe that arbitrary user one.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if you saw the deploy parameters, which are sitting there on the chain,
yeah,
you can predict all of them.
Yeah. That's a cool idea though. That's enough pseudo entropy to make fun like games and toy games and stuff.
Yeah. Let's see. There wasn't any way to, when the first time I tried to use it that way, there wasn't any way to get like the first byte out of this byte array. There wasn't any way to consume the byte array other than,
Oh, don't byte arrays have like slice or something?
Okay. Now you've got a slice of a byte array.
So that gives me, you're saying to like turn it into an int?
Yeah, turn it into an ace of spades or whatever.
Yeah.
Do that. I guess you could. No, there wasn't any way to construct. Well, anyway, so now there's a byte array nth where you can get the nth item out of it.
Yeah, right, and it comes back as an integer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then you're good to go because you have all kinds of good operations on integers.
Right.
Comparisons and whatnot. Okay, all right, cool. So that problem is solved.
Yeah, well, I had to add the inf method a month or so ago.
Oh, you added that?
Yeah, it wasn't until 0.8 that we had that method.
Oh, I wonder if that fell out of. I bet that's not in my tutorial then.
Oh, right.
As far as I know, that's the only place all of the data structure methods are documented.
I have been trying to get them to. Rholang examples. I've been trying to keep this as somewhat canonical. So history here, you should see a history of the Rholang language.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Byte array nth.
Oh, you've even got some for timestamp. Oh, that's great. I was kicking around the RChain dev server the other day, and I saw him importing something that was like, oh god, I don't even remember what it was called. Something about debugging or something. Wow, I wonder if I'll be able to find that. I don't know. Maybe it was a PR.
Yeah, I added nth and length.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna make myself an issue to put those in here too. And they work this like exactly how I'd expect.
Yep. Have you seen?
Here we go. In one of Ovidiu's PRs, PR 2100, he is importing new assert from row test assert.
Oh yeah, they were working on testing infrastructure. Have I showed you this RLP stuff?
I watched the video of you showing Ed and
Okay.
Chris B. So what's the? I think I understood that there was some encoding that Ethereum made up, and you had re-implemented it in Rholang, which is awesome. I'm not totally sure I understood what where that makes like a user's experience easier. Like, you know, what's the final output or something?
Okay, well, the final output is you take MetaMask. Why am I not able to run MetaMask? Anyway, MetaMask has a settings option where you can point it to a different. You can point it take it to not be Infura, and you can point it to something running on your desktop. Yeah,
right? Totally. Your own RPC.
Okay, so the thing running on my desktop could be my own piece of JavaScript code. Mm-hmm. It takes the signed transactions that it gets from MetaMask and sends them to RChain.
Oh, that's an interesting idea.
So I've actually done all the bit twiddling in RChain to get. I've actually taken published Ethereum transactions out of tutorials and stuff and gotten them to check on RChain.
Okay, cool. So what kind of transaction are you talking about? Like not like just sending ETH or something, right? Or that works?
Well, they have the same structure as Ether transactions. So they have a nonce, a gas price, a gas limit, a to, a value, a data.
Oh, wow.
So anything could go in the data.
Oh, right. So even if the structure changes, or if you want to use this for voting or whatever, then you just figure out some way to jam that into data, tell it to MetaMask.
Right.
And then undo the jamming, de-jam it once it's at whatever your custom RPC that's pretending to be Ethereum for the sake of MetaMask.
Right.
Okay, that's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, because Ethereum has got, how we can sign structured stuff. They have got some conventions coming up for that.
Yeah, I mean, that seems good, right? Like we should be able to sign whatever arbitrary data structures exist in the programming language.
Right, but the Ethereum world has actually got one of these Ethereum extension proposals in MetaMask. There's a beta version of it that has a user interface.
Yeah, that's great.
So if we could actually use their user interface, it's like, oh, look at that.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So have you? So I know you did the RLP stuff in rholang. That's what we're looking at now, I think, right?
Well, this is the signature stuff which relies on the RLP stuff.
Okay. So have you done anything about like making the thing that MetaMask might talk to?
Not yet, no.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that was like on the fence of whether I would just add it to rholang, which is, okay, if you have an integer, you want to make a byte array out of nothing.
Yeah.
And like I have the integer 12, and I want to make a length 1 byte array with the first byte is 12.
Yeah.
Well, stupid rholang tricks.
Yeah, I'm looking at that lines 93 to 96 stupid rholang trick, and I definitely did that same thing to make some really similar thing to make a parseInt contract at some point, where you give it a string and it gives you back the integer.
So yeah, it takes the first nibble and looks it up, and takes the second nibble and looks it up, and does.
Oh, I see you commenting about mod there too.
Yeah.
Libro has a div mod contract for that. Is that coming soon?
It's in the grammar.
Oh, it is. Oh, that's great.
I think. So I think you get a can't compile this error, but you don't get a syntax error.
Oh, that seems like it couldn't be that hard to write, doesn't it? There's got to be some piece of code that interprets multiplication or something that we could copy and.
Yep.
I feel like it's got to just be wrapping the mod operator that Scala has already.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely copying and pasting 50 lines of code and the tests and the accounting and all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you think we could dig in on that? How long would it take to find the code?
20 seconds. I have it in my, it's reduce.scala, and
this is where I look to get all the method stuff. I didn't realize this is where like operators and expressions were evaluated too. Oh, those methods are all just expressions in rholang.
Yeah. Yeah, so here's E body, so you just...
Okay, right, and you give body. Oh, interesting, okay. Eval to long P1, eval to long P2. Cost accounting and stuff. Oh, would we have to figure out how to cost it? Or can that be copied also from div, maybe? Oh, that should totally be the same cost as a division, I think.
Yeah.
Yield gint. Oh yeah, that's not even 50 lines, right?
Well, but there's a bunch. So you'd have to copy this, but then you also have to find out where multiplication cost is defined and fix that. And then there's probably a test or two, and
yeah, okay.
That's what I meant by 50 lines. It's 10 here and 10 here and 10 here.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, the biggest difference between this and a div mod contract is that this is synchronous.
Yeah, exactly. And div mod contract is there as a hack, definitely. And it's for RSpace operations that way too. Which it's not if we have an operator. All right, cool. Well, anything else we should talk about? I'm going to get lunch pretty soon.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go back to coding the registry stuff or the module loader thingy.
Oh yeah, nice. All right, cool. Well, good hanging. I'm glad we got to sync again. It feels like it's been a while.
Yeah, definitely.
If you got a second, I'd like to just show you identity in robot using macro language. It's a very poor man's, but powerful and dangerous.
Yes.
realm.
Yeah, I'm down.
Which channel?
Um, testing bots and robots is where I'm working.
You want to switch to your screen, or?
Yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll just cancel this. This has got errors in it, but this will show you.
Now, you know that bringing back the C preprocessor is giving me nightmares from the early 90s, right?
Yeah. But I mean, you guys have some much better solutions for a language, but this creates a language with the least amount of work, and I couldn't find anything better than the C language. And this renderer is screwy, using the C-lang formatter to format the rholang, which I haven't been able to change the configuration of. But we look at the make my locker here. It takes no arguments. And what we have is variables that get defined automatically corresponding to your Discord ID. So your username and your public key and then what I do is you can define from the command line. You can do a pound define or a define colon to define global macros. So in here I define inbox underscore my username to be my inbox. So anybody can put that, access my inbox. And I define the locker nonce so that can be automatic for my username. So that can automatically be incremented. This is the output of the new ballot method, which is wrong. But it takes a name and it takes set choices. Okay, this is a little glitch here. This shows the actual URI, whereas the macro has in it $.
Yeah.
Okay. So hold the phone here. So Jim, when you said echo new ballot name choice set, then robot came back with what is supposed to be the right code for you to deploy or something?
No, this is what gets substituted. So when I do, if I do an eval of $ new ballot.
You said no in answer to his question, but you're demonstrating that the answer is yes.
Oh, okay. Right. If I did, the echo does shows what it would do with the eval.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Flavors, comma. Oh. Well, let's make a new ballot. Like,
Don't forget your T for ballot.
And big B.
Thank you. Color. I'm going to have a set of blue, green. Oops. Spell. And Wow.
Yeah, the B and the T. There you go.
Okay, so then oh, I get an error. Oh no. Shucks. This did work.
Name variable used in process context. I've seen that about 1 million times. I don't think that's a big problem, Jim. You're missing a star somewhere or something.
Okay.
Yeah, no, this did actually work, although there were some errors in creating the ballot, which I'm still have to fix. But you get the idea. You can also put pound defines in your eval. Or your echo. You know, if you want to see it, you can echo it and then define
Yeah,
it.
so Jim, that's cool. Here's my question: that the one thing I don't quite get yet is when you do like pound define admin, what is that getting replaced with, and where does the data come from? Yeah, right there.
Yeah, well, I'm going to add a search for. There's two things you want to be able to search from the command line. One is the log, the rnode log, and the other is the global.h file. And this has all the pound defines in it. This is what gets prefixed.
Gotcha.
And then I have this undo script, which removes all the, oh shoot, Control C. What do I do? Duplicate on line 1, line 15. 15, go. Okay, so there must be some case I didn't take into consideration in my shell script.
I like the idea of I like the idea of using Discord as like the UI for this. Maybe rholang will be the native scripting language of Discord.
Okay, so basically the script removes all the duplicates from the file. And now it modified the file, and so I'm going to load it. The new version, and now it has no duplicates in it anymore.
Yeah, the process variable in name context. Do you have a chapter on rholang paper cuts, Joshy?
I have a chapter about quoting and unquoting, I think, but I don't really remember.
Whenever I write more than like 3 lines of rholang, I have to go through this thing that says, okay, I forgot all my exclamation points. I forgot the equals in contract. I forgot a vertical bar between curly braces.
Totally.
And then, you know, and process variable name context. And then the really bad ones where you don't get an error message, like wrong number of arguments.
Yeah, those are really bad. And another one that's bad is when you call a method on a data structure that doesn't exist, and it tells you about it. Like if you ran it with rnode eval, it tells you about it right after where you typed rnode eval, and then it immediately gets blown off the screen.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, we have to put some intelligence in your parser, Jossie. So it doesn't. So it says, "Didn't you mean such and such?"
Yeah, yeah. Well, see, that's the funny thing too. That Russian guy, I think his name is Ivan. He wrote a pretty nice parser that gave really helpful error messages. He might have even gotten a bounty paid for it. I'm not clear on that, but I don't think it's being used anywhere.
Did he actually adapt it to rholang? Because I think he had some framework, but I don't know if he ever actually built a rholang parser.
No, he did. I finally got him tracked down on Zoom once, and he showed me how it worked. And I didn't have like a good enough Java IDE and developer environment set up to reproduce it, but it was working
right.
At least. Yeah. There was a bounty issue open for it somewhere, but I don't remember. I don't remember where.
Yeah, I could find that. Yeah. That was kind of a long story.
So the idea is to enable voting on Discord.
So
this is
that's the kind of thing that that's like Space Invaders and VI macros. It's like Discord already has a pretty good voting UI.
Yeah. But we're going to vote on RChain. Sounds good.
Wait, what do you mean Discord has a good voting UI?
The little endorsements, when you.
Oh, the thumbs. Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah, I think that's pretty good, but that's not the same as voting on chain, though, right? I guess maybe.
Oh, but if I were gonna do a Discord user interface, I would use that user interface, and then I would have a bot that listens for those endorsements.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. Oh.
Yeah, and the Pollmaster bot is what we experimented with, and that works pretty good. We're basically doing something that's as good as that Pollmaster, which that runs on RChain.
Yeah, so Pollmaster is an existing Discord bot that one can like install on their server.
Yes, we have installed it and experimented with it in the collab.
I didn't. Can we play with that real quick? How do you do it?
Well, let's see. We have. Oops, where am I? I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so actually, if we just go into the testing bots channel here and go back, we can go back. Okay, we can see there's a bang list polls, which lists the polls that you have. And there's information on each poll, and you can make them anonymous. This is a pretty nice tool. You can give weights to roles. So we can do trust metric or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's the target. Target is to replicate the capabilities of Pollmaster on RChain.
That's cool. I dig that.
Yeah. And it's using the toy keys, but it's really cool that it manages your keys for you, which you can do if you're running your own bot. You can let your bot manage your keys. It's very cool.
Right.
Good. All right, nice. That's good work, Jim. Did you do that or? Oh, Jim, have you seen David lately?
Yeah, I don't know. I know he's got an issue with malaria that
Ooh.
time to time. He's sort of in the background. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Up with him. I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
He did say, you know, I did expect him. He did say he was coming to the work study, but he didn't come.
Oh no. All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think I'm gonna bounce off for lunch, guys. Good catching up again.
All right. Bye for now.
Take
All
it
right,
easy,
bye.
Joshie.